The Holy Father, Pope Francis, has said that he will visit South Sudan this year. Last week we were talking about South Sudan, life, politics, and the church. This week we'd like to conclude our discussion with Father Mbikoyezu John. Pope Francis himself has shown extraordinary interest in the people of Sudan. They are suffering, to an extent that he has said that this year he would like to visit South Sudan. What are the sentiments like on the ground?
The visit of the Pope, which was announced last year, has been extraordinarily accepted by the people, and everybody is looking forward to that. His extraordinary gesture, which he showed our leaders, and the words he talked to them, that we are brothers, you have to work together. Should there be anything, solve it as brothers. In regard to the people of South Sudan, people were really touched. It also brought us this moment of the peace to be implemented, because that was his call. So there is a sense of, are these people touched by the message?
Not only the message, he pleaded with them and even kissed their feet.
Yes, he kissed their feet. And it was impressive. Now our people are expecting the Pope to come. On the other hand, some skeptics who during that time, what he did, some were saying, would this one make impact on these leaders? Those are the South Sudanese silent people. And we hope our leaders remember the time when he was kneeling down there and they were raising him up, because each one was at least feeling some sense that the Holy Father could not kneel before me. So they were somehow helping him to get up when he was kneeling before them. I think it's time that the leadership, our leadership, knows that that assistance they were giving him to raise him up should become also something practical for the people, to raise the people up as they were helping the Pope to come up. I think that was the message, and that's where most of us are hoping that his coming can elevate this suffering that the people have gone through for many years now.
So a lot of things are hanging around the formation of the Government of National Unity.
Yeah, there are, so far there are some good news. There is good news that the parties, the warring parties have brought their forces in many containment areas that are being carried there. And there is respect for the cessation of hostilities. There is no much fighting now in the areas. And it is raising a very encouraging spirit in the people. We are also hearing that the contagious issue now is the number of states to be determined. So we would expect a compromise, because remaining rigid on one position will not help us through I think this time calls for creativity. Creativity does not mean that somebody is weak, or compromise does not mean that somebody is weak, but we have to be creative for the people we serve. We have to be compromise so that also our people will understand how strong we are in compromising and how best we are planning for them. I think that's the issue now, the boundary of the states, and then the training process which is already going on.
And the disarmament.
I think when the training is done and the deployment is done, I think those forces who may be instrumental now in the medical disarmament of those who don't form part of the unified forces, be it military, police, and different sections of the security. So it may be now time for them, it may be in the transitional period, which is 3 years, to work on the disarmament and remove guns from wherever does not form part of that unified force. I think that will be the thing that comes up, and other issues. So for the time being, the thing is to put these ones in order and see other process to go ahead.
Father Mbikoyezu, one thing that has always struck me about Sudanese or South Sudanese people is their strong Catholic faith. And we have St. Daniel Komboni, who is closely associated with Sudan. We have Bakita, who is also closely associated with Sudan. Mm-hmm. What is it about Sudanese people that, in spite of all their suffering, and they've been suffering and they've experienced a lot of wars for a very, very long time, since 1952, what is it about them that in spite of all this, they still hold on strongly to their Catholic faith?
Yes, I think the church has been our life, has been part and parcel of our living, right from even before independence. The church was there, and the missionaries were expelled out because the rule by then wanted to cancel Christianity, but it persevered. And during the years of the civil war that brought South Sudan into birth, it was the church which was the only voice speaking for the people. Of course, we had people fighting, but the church stood for the dignity of people in and out of the areas that they were in. So the church has that moral voice and to work for the people, and the people also perceive that the church is the space where they experience their oneness, their brotherhood, and the living together as children of God. So we are so much entangled in our faith. And not only the Catholic Church, even all the churches are united. As you can see, the South Sudan Council of Churches, there were those who united and organized also for the coming of our leaders here to the Vatican, so that they have this retreat with the Holy Father that is called. So the people in South Sudan are strongly united. And then talking of Catholic faith, it has long-term institutions, and most of our dioceses now in South Sudan have already celebrated the centenaries, the 100 years of faith. So this has again given us the boost to go ahead. So we live by faith, and we have seen the results of it. So when we are in difficulties, that's the way we go, and God also comes to our help through other members who listen to our prayers and our plea.
And finally, Father, the Church in South Sudan has effectively used the means of communication in terms of radio. Almost every diocese in South Sudan has a radio station.
Yeah, that is true, and I also stand here to testify that the radios indeed have become for us a very, very important instrument. Our radios in Sudan in South Sudan is under what we call Catholic Radio Network, is the coordination office that brings them together or offers the training to our local journalists, and that helps our young people to create the programs and do the programs. So our radios in South Sudan is most of all a church radio. These are church radio stations run by the churches, by the diocese, and through these radios we are able to reach people through the prayers that we do. Some live transmissions of the liturgy is done. Some evangelization messages are given. Peace and justice is being talked about through these radios. And as we are people in this situation of war, we create programs for reconciliations and also other developmental issues that can help the community to grow. So, and it has become very important for our bishops because as we know, the bishops have little time to move around. They are always kept up by works and traveling. So it is a big instrument where the bishops get into encounter with their Christians directly, and it is helping the development in the diocese and also helping our pastoral life. So, but still I think the church in South Sudan still needs to work on developing these radios and also creating a national link of the radios that can, at the national level, address and reach to every part of the country. Because as if we have a radio in our diocese, the landscape is big, our radios don't reach. The range is not so wide. So we still look forward to develop it, and for the time being, it is helping us very much.
Father Mbikwayezu, thank you very much for those insights on South Sudan and for taking the time to share with us about the church, the life, and the politics of that country.
Yeah, thank you very much. As you said before, we are on on the 8th of February, we're celebrating the feast of Saint Bakita. So we also call on the people to pray with us on that day for peace in our country. She was a great woman who knew suffering, but her faith led her through and to become a saint. So we ask her intercession for our country, South Sudan, and other places also in Sudan, which needs peace. Thank you very much.
Certainly. Thank you, Father. South Sudanese priest and media student, Father Mbikoyezu John.